Hey my lovelies, I wanted to come on with another video sharing with you what I have decided. So if you're not up to date, so I am gonna be 50 next month. This is April 2024 and May 30th, I'm gonna be 50. I feel good, I'm fit. I had the twins when I was 47 and I am about to have another frozen embryo transfer. And fun fact, the twins were supposed to be a frozen embryo transfer, but the day I showed up to the clinic in the Czech Republic, they were like, oh, we have fresh embryos for you. So apparently the timing worked out that way to where they either had frozen eggs and because they told me the kind of phenotypes of the donors before, probably they just fertilized them 5 days before, apparently. So that worked out. And this time, the clinic in Poland, they reached out to me last Friday. This is Monday. So they reached out and the embryologist gave me a choice. So there is a group of 2 embryos from 2 donors. And then there's a group of 3 from 2 other donors. And they wanted me to pick. When I reached out to them the first time, I was like, I want to transfer 1 embryo. And then when they sent me these choices, like I'm thinking, okay, that is crazy. Now I'm gonna have to decide. Why didn't they just tell me we have an embryo for you from these donors or those donors? Now I have this knowledge of there are a group of 3 which are genetically related and they're basically siblings and they're all the beginnings of a human being. And then there's a group of 2, which what am I supposed to do? The twins, the reason really why I decided to transfer 2 embryos last time, and I did 2 transfers. The first one failed. Technically, it was successful. I mean, I did get pregnant, but then at 10 weeks, I had a miscarriage because it was a blighted ovum, meaning the embryo didn't continue developing early on. And then I always transferred 2 embryos. And the reason why I did it back then was because, number one, I was a pretty good candidate for having a twin pregnancy because I was very fit, very healthy, very intentional, healthy lifestyle for years. I always exercised and I felt strong. I felt on top of my health big time. So that's why I felt I was a good candidate. And also another thing was that I felt like I wanted them to have a sibling because, I have 1 biological daughter, and then I wanted the child to not be like wondering, okay, where I don't know anyone on the planet who is genetically related to me. And then I had twins. So they have each other. They have a playmate, which is amazing. And twin pregnancy was really hard toward the end. It was difficult. It was probably physically the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Now the birth, yes, of course, the dog has to bark now. I had a home birth, so everything went so well, but it was hard. It was hard work. It was hard work giving birth, probably because Emil was he had this bump on his forehead when he was born, which was okay the next day, but apparently he bumped against something. And he probably, when it's twins, they can't maybe ideally turn sometimes. And so he was in a position that I had to push so much with my daughter, my first home birth. Basically my body just did the pushing and there was nothing I could do against it, and I didn't have to add to it. It's almost like it automatically all happened. With the twins, not so much. I pushed. I don't know how long the pushing was. I have a protocol somewhere, but I don't remember. May have pushed for at least 30 minutes or an hour. So much pushing. Actually, the end phase of labor, And the next day I was so exhausted. Now Lola came out so easy because he, he had paved the way. But that was hard work. There was never a moment where anything was even remotely wrong. Although there was some blood when I gave birth, but it was all within the range of normal. My midwife, who's very experienced, there were 2 midwives actually, they were not worried at all at any time. So everything went well. And I remember the day after, it was like, I'm never going to do that again in my life. Like twins. I'm never doing that again. This is, I mean, even when I was pregnant toward the end, that the last month, it was brutal. Like I remember putting on those compression stockings was a huge ordeal. My goodness, it was so much work. I hardly could do it because they're so tight. It was so hard to put them on. I was exhausted afterwards and I hardly could move. Talking about it now, it's like it was hard. Even the simplest thing. I wanted to do a shooting, like a pregnancy shooting, and just something like getting blossoms, getting flowers and putting petals in there. I couldn't do it because I was like, it's too much. I have no help, I can't. But right after I gave birth to the twins, I remember it was either the first night or the second night or the third night in that first week, I had that vision. I don't know if it was hormones, but I had that vision that I'm giving birth to another girl. I have no idea where that comes from. But I knew right after, I'm going to have one other child. So that was the vision. And that may have been hormones because it's very normal. You are full of happiness hormones after you give birth and you have 2 babies. And then it doesn't matter how much sleep you don't get. It's just, oh, you're like in heaven, right? So now when the clinic reached out to me, this entire weekend, I was going back and forth between, I need to think about my future and the future of all of my children. Wouldn't it be nice if my next child, if it does work out, had a genetic sibling in the family? And what if I could, because my wish was always to have a large family. Wouldn't it be great if I just had 2 more kids all in one pop? So I would basically be done probably, and I wouldn't have to worry about either, number one, maybe get pregnant again, which, I mean, I'm 50 this year. I'm going to be 50. I don't want to prolong this even more until I'm even older and get started all over again. So having twins, what would speak for having twins or, attempting, potentially, you never know. The chances are better if you transfer 2, but then the risk is higher that actually both stick. If they're good embryos, then they most likely will both stick. So all these arguments, yeah, it would be great for the kids. They also would have a playmate, and I would probably be done. I had to have 5 children. Wow, I've always wanted that big family. Physically, it would be hard, but I feel like I'm in a place where I am well nourished. I have been taking a lot of good supplements. Also, I've been nourishing my body with great food. I've been coming back to my exercising every single day. I've been very active. I feel like I'm getting in good shape. Now my pelvic floor and belly muscles, they're not exactly where they were before the twin pregnancy, but that may even take years, or it might not even ever happen to where it gets back to where it was before, which I don't think. I think I can, because if I start, like when the kids are just a little older, I have more time. I love exercising. I do it much more seriously then. Now I'm doing kind of the 30-minute a day thing, which does benefit a lot. So these are all the things that speak for having twins. And then, you know, also my other kids, they would have 2 more babies. How amazing is that? And my older daughter, she always told me, it's like, come on, it's like, we have me. I'm like, yes, but you have needs. You're about to be she's going to be a tween this year, and then she's going to be a teenager soon, and she's in the middle of puberty already. And so she has issues that I really have to deal with also with her. It's not all, you know, like she has had with school and with some social issues. She's had some hard times that I'm trying to guide her through and help her through, and we're even trying to think of, we might think of seeing a therapist. I really want her to see a therapist, and she's like, I'm scared. She wanted it before, and now she's like, oh, but I'm scared. And I told her, you don't have to be scared. You could, you know, you can open up, and they basically, you could tell them whatever you want. I'm really happy I'm in a situation where she tells me everything. She trusts me so much to where she will tell me anything that's on her heart. Sometimes it'll take her a little while because she doesn't know how to word it, and she's like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. But after a while, she will tell me, which that's really what I've always wanted. I wanted her to have that trust in me to where she will confide in me no matter what. And that's what's happening, and that's great. But she has some things that we need to work through. So I need to focus on her also. She's very important. She's my first baby, and she will always be my first. And we were just her and me for almost 9 years. So that's very special. And then the twins, they're toddlers. I mean, they are very needy still. They need a lot of me physically. So that's more bandwidth, and I'm just now back to where I can make really nice meals and cook and bake a lot, because the twins now, they do longer stretches where they just play with each other and they're content. And then there's the physical aspect, of course. Although I'm in great shape, having a singleton, I just imagine, you know, I just picture myself with one baby. It would be, I'm not saying easy, but it would be so much more doable to just put them in the carrier and do whatever I need to do in the kitchen and have my hands free for the other kids, versus having twins. And I'm telling you, all of my kids, I don't know, maybe it's something I'm doing, but all of my kids always have needed lots of physical contact. Maybe it's also because it's just me. There's not one other adult every day here who's that person, that caregiver. Maybe that's why they're very clingy toward me. And it's still sometimes really hard with the twins because they need lots of physical contact, you know, to fall asleep. And for me, sleep training it's just not me. Okay. So I just didn't sleep. It's okay. I'm over that now. They sleep most of the time. They sleep really well, but they sleep beside me, and they need me there with them. When they're mature enough, I mean, my older daughter, she can sleep wherever she wants to. The age will come where they will just be like, come on, you two can go in a room together. Or if we have more kids, then the girls can come together in one room and the boys, or, you know, however it turns out. So I have arrived at the conclusion that I will transfer one embryo, but I'm going to transfer one of the group of 2. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask them to kind of reserve it. I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% sure they froze them separately. They're not in one straw. So that means they can thaw one. But I will ask them if they can reserve the second one for me. And so if it doesn't work, if I don't get pregnant at the first attempt, I'm going to try the second one. And if I do, then I will ask them to keep it frozen, because I might then still want to transfer it. And then that's a decision I can still make after I have the next baby, if I do want to add another or not. And I could keep it frozen for however long time I need to decide. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to have one embryo transferred, and my thinking is like, I really need to be there for my current kids. And that's the best solution. That there's still a chance then to give that baby, if it so works, a sibling or the potential. I tried. At least I could say I tried. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm contacting the clinic today, and then we're on our way. And what they're going to do, this is how they do it in Poland. Then they're going to reserve the embryos for me, and then the paperwork that they're going to send me is going to contain like my ID number and all that stuff, and it's going to have the embryo numbers. And then we're going to go to the notary. And yes, we're doing this. Yes, you know this entire backstory that I'm basically single, but my oldest daughter's dad, we are officially the parents, which means we might not be together and live together, which we never have, but we're friends. We both know we can't be a couple, but we're friends and we love to have children, and we just have this as a project. And he signs even the birth certificate. So officially he is the dad of all the children. And he will go and sign with me, go to the notary's office. So that actually officially, because in Poland, they don't do transfers for single women. But I'm not single because he is going to be the father. So he's going to sign the papers that he is accepting fatherhood, his parentship, whatever you call it. So he's going to sign, and then after that, everything should be well on its way. All I need to do now, I need to go to the lab and have a few tests run. And then at the end of this month, I'm going to have my ultrasound, which they want, the baseline ultrasound. And from there, we can go. My cycle, I'm not sure. So I think I'm on cycle day 15 now. I felt like I've been doing some OPKs, and I know when you're in perimenopause and menopause, they might not be representative, but I also read that you're most likely you have a really high LH level when you're toward the end of perimenopause and close to approaching menopause. And I don't have that. I also don't, since I've been taking my herbs, I have zero symptoms of any menopausal, except that I didn't have my period, which that could have different reasons. And we're going to know, we're going to do the ultrasound. We're going to see if there are any cysts or anything like that, which I had a cyst once and it resolved on its own, and we're going to check, and that's it. And then hopefully everything will work out. I would love to do a natural transfer, a natural cycle, or like a modified natural with just the HCG trigger shot, and then taking the vaginal progesterone. If I have to do the shots, the PIO, that's what it is, the progesterone and oil, if I do a planned cycle, a medicated cycle, then I have to do the shots. So be it. It's okay. I'm going to do anything it takes. And then I'm going to shoot up to 10 weeks or so. You have to give yourself the shots. Natural cycle is so much more convenient, of course, because less medications, and it doesn't matter with the timing because I'll take my car. It's what I decided, even though it's 10 hours drive one way. I'll just have a hotel. Kid's dad is going to stay here at the house for a couple days, and I'll just go there and do it. That was a longer update than I wanted, but I did want to explain why. I'm excited. I've been watching tons of videos and studies and all the things that might improve. I did forget to tell you last time, I am taking vitamin D, of course. It's turning summer now, but vitamin D, I've been taking it for months and my levels are really great. It's not just 30, it's 50, which is much more ideal. That's it for today. Stay tuned for more updates. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you can follow my journey. I would love to stay connected, and I love hearing your comments. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.